Hello there, Internet. I'd like to tell you about a couple of days I've had recently. So 3 days back, I killed it. I had the best day. I got up, I made myself breakfast, I did fitness stuff, I met with all my clients, I worked on a bunch of projects. Everything that I want to do in a day happened in that day. It was great. Then, the next day, I did okay. I went to all my meetings with my clients. I worked a little bit on some projects. I did a little bit more fitness. I took care of myself pretty well, right? But I got towards the end of that day. It was maybe 8 p.m. or something. And, I hit kind of a lull. And I'm sitting there reflecting on my day. And I could see the development of this narrative that this day was a disappointment. Because it just, compared to the day before, it was just such a fall off, I wasn't getting nearly as much done, and I really wish that I could have that kind of momentum like I did the day before and whatnot, which is bullshit. And so as I was telling that narrative to piss right the hell off, I realized that this is an example of regression to the mean playing out in my life. That, of course, after I have an exceptional day, the next day is not going to measure up. So if a narrative gets started, if I'm listening to a story that I should compare any given day to my best day, of course I'm going to be dissatisfied. Of course. All right? So I want to talk a little bit about regression to the mean and how it plays into the business of practicing to be a happy human being. So the idea of regression to the mean is that most events are average or close to average. So if you are observing some random process and you happen to observe something that's very far from the mean, an extreme value, then the most likely outcome for the next observation is that it will be less extreme, right? There's the abstract. Let's go down to the concrete. So let's say you have a class project and you're measuring the heights of everybody at your school, right? So you're cruising along measuring person after person after person. The heights of human individuals is roughly a random distribution, so we should expect that most people will be about average. Let's say that everybody, when you average them together, are about 5'7", right? So you're cruising down, you're measuring heights, measuring heights, measuring heights. If you hit somebody who's 6'10", then the next person you measure after that one is gonna be shorter. It's very rarely going to be the case that you measure somebody who's very extreme, 6'10", and then you measure somebody who's taller right after. And if you measure somebody who's 4'5", then probably the next person you measure is going to be taller than that person. It's just the way that the numbers work. It's just the way that normally distributed random variables work, right? So if you happen to find yourself being very extreme, it's unlikely that you're going to stay that extreme or more extreme. You're going to get closer to the mean. That's all regression is. It's just a simple phenomenon of the numbers. And so the way that that works out in your life is twofold, right? If you have a good day, especially an exceptionally good day, then just by the law of averages, your next day is not going to be as good. It's going to be an average day, right? So you can't measure yourself, your experience, by your highs. You can't measure how good was this day by measuring it against the best day. That's just a recipe for dissatisfaction. So you have to train yourself to really have a sense of what is my average day and where am I with respect to that. Because, there's a lot of forces outside of your control that are going to be major influences on your day. And from your point of view, those are basically random. So you're going to get this phenomena of randomness where generally you're going to regress to the mean. And the flip side of that, the more optimistic, hopeful side of that is if you have a particularly bad day, tomorrow is most likely going to be better. So take hope, right? You just got to weather the storm for this one day. The next day is probably going to be better as you regress to the mean. But there doesn't have to be any sort of cosmic significance to that. There doesn't have to be any sort of, beneficial powers that are improving your next day or some, hateful demons who are lurking to catch you out. And this is a pattern of cognition that I encounter a lot, where people actually, when they do have a very positive experience, they are actually sort of on guard as if, oh, I had a good thing, so it has to balance out. I have to have a bad thing, which is not how it works. So you don't need to have the anxiety around that. You just need to have a realistic appreciation for the fact that if you are riding a high right now, then probably tomorrow is just going to be mundane. It's going to be average, right? So keep average in mind at all times. Let that be the standard, right? Put the practices in place so that your average is trending in the direction that you want it to trend toward happiness, right? And keep a healthy frame so that you don't let the highs rob you of the value of your average day, and that when you are in the lows, you know that, hey, at least medium times are coming, right? So that's regression to the mean, and that's a couple of ways that I think that it plays into how people practice being happy humans, and I hope that having taken stock of that, you'll have a better life experience. And also, just because I haven't said it in a while, but I'm still trying to live it, Wholesome 2018. Look for opportunities in this not so new quarter of the way through year to focus on the things that are lifting you up in your life, that are bringing positivity in your life, and see how you can reflect that out to the people in your circle. Cheers.